a reason why. Luke.
I forget what the term actually was, but I learned in philosophy last year. Mr. Emma gave us an example. Sometimes someone can remember something that didn't actually happen. So, like, if someone's having this memory of something that might have an important impact on what goes on, like, in the present, like, say, you're in court and you're remembering something that happened. You could be remembering something that didn't actually happen, and that could have, like, a notable impact on what actually happens in the court.
Yeah. What do you guys think of that? Jack?
Yeah, I agree with that. Your brain tries to, like, fill in the gaps with, like, things that it makes up so it makes sense. It's not really like that. Can't trust it. Also, you could, like I also like philosophy in our textbook, like, some people, like, remember from their childhood that they got, like, sexually assaulted, and sometimes that doesn't actually happen. It's just somehow they remember that and they felt like they experienced it, but they actually didn't, and that I can't really trust them.
Anybody else? Let's see the more middle of the fence. Sometimes reliable, not. What would you guys say to those? Yeah, Victor.
I'd say like it's good to have someone else's perspective on something before it's like pre-knowledge before doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Just to like another input into like your information and like a broader perspective on things.
Victoria?
I'm in the middle because like it was already said, your brain fills in the gaps with a lot of things, but it doesn't like specify what kind of situation. Like I could have just remembered that I didn't forget to close the garage at home or something, and that's a reliable account because I remembered I closed the garage, for instance. So that's why I'm in the middle.
Okay, so sometimes reliable, sometimes not. Other thoughts? Yeah.
It is more often where the things you recall in your memory are true, but it doesn't mean that your memory is 100% reliable because your brain can make up things.
Other thoughts? What do you think, Mary? No, Mary. Do you think that memory is real? So what did you put down for that one, the first one? Oh, number 4. Okay, so you're strong. Okay, so you think memory is, it's not kind of 50, it's more often reliable. Why would you think that?
Like, as Luke said, like it's not 100%, but it's often true. Like, it often, like, it did happen. Like people think, like, oh, just because, like, it's a memory, it's not 100%. But, like, most of the time, it is reliable.
I see. It's good. It's an interesting discussion. For those, I guess, in philosophy, you guys may have heard the name Bertrand Russell. Have you guys ever heard that name before? So he was a philosopher in the 20th century, old guy from Britain, had an interesting way of talking. And he actually thought of one that can really melt your mind if you think about it too much. So there's something called entropy, which is the nature of the world. What's that? Oh, yeah. She's already scared. She knows. Something called entropy, which is where the world kind of tends to go into disorder, right? And so let's say at the beginning of the universe, it was very disordered, and now it's become more ordered as time has gone on. And what Russell said is, well, what makes you think that the universe didn't just start right now? And all of your memories and everything are kind of impacted, like a part of that. Your brain has been made up to make you think you have all these memories. And he said, well, it stands to reason it's more likely because an ordered system is more likely to come into existence than a disordered system. I leave it to you guys. Did we all just snap into existence right now? Did Thanos just snap his fingers and we just came back? For those of you who watch Marvel, who knows? Think about it. Don't go crazy, but think about it. Okay, the main purpose, so that's question 2 of our memories, is to teach us how to best act in the present. So the main purpose, there might be other purposes, but the main one is to teach us how to act in the present. So let's start. Who is completely disagreeing with that? That's not their purpose whatsoever. Okay, level 2, level 3, level 4, and level 5. Okay, let's start at the other extreme. So, Luke, other Luke. You guys can't sit next to each other. I'm just going to point over there and just get one Luke to the other.
Yeah, when you ask me how many words we ask for it, we have to write for the blog and we both answer.
You both answer? Hey, double the Luke, double your fun. Okay, other Luke. Yes, so why would you say 5?
So I think just because a memory can serve you well in the present, as you can use a memory as a reference to let's let's say if something, if you have like a bad experience in the past, so you can use your memory, like your conscience to know that if you do it again, because you want to, like, to use it as a like reference, as a guide.
Other thoughts on that one? Don, what do you think?
I agree with what you're saying, but I'd say that if you, for example, if you had a bad experience in the past and you're in the same situation again, you can use your memory to do something different and try to get a better outcome.
Let's see. Karen, what do you think for that question? What did you put down? Three? Okay, so you're not totally on the, it's one of the purposes maybe. What are some other uses of memory then if it's not to serve us? Can you think of any? To cherish? Yeah, to appreciate? Do you have any other ones you might think of?
I mean, there are good memories and bad memories, but bad memories like stick more to you. So therefore, like you're kind of always in fear.
How can that be useful? Right?
Not
Yeah.
useful for the present.
Exactly.
So it's just like it won't really help you.
Ariana, what do you think? Which one did you put down?
4.
4? Okay, so what are you thinking?
I kind of learn from experience. So like what God said, if you experience something bad, then you'll learn like the future.
So it's apparently the case from psychology that if you have a memory that is more than 6 months old, and it's a painful memory and it's still hurting you, it means that your mind hasn't properly integrated it. It seems to be the case, from some psychologists will argue that that is what memory is for. That's why we evolved to have a memory, is so that we don't go by that lion's den again and get swiped in the face, for example, right? So if you have a memory that's more than 6 months old, and whenever you think about it, it still hurts, it's still painful, you haven't worked through it yet. Now you might think, well, what am I supposed to do? One of the best ways, and one that we'll talk about more in this unit, is writing about it. Specifically, writing about it. Putting it into words on a piece of paper. And we'll talk about why that might be. But if you guys right now, so this is one you can take home and take to the bank right away. If you have a memory that when you think about it, it's painful, let's say you broke up with somebody, okay? Or let's say it's a family thing, or you're really embarrassed about it, whatever it is. And it's still painful when you think about it, and it happened more than 6 months ago or more. Go home tonight and take a few minutes and just write about it. Write anything about it, but just write it out. Okay? So let's go to number 3. Here we go. So I think it was Miriam around the beginning of my time here who asked me if I went into physics because of familial pressure. Oh, it was Mary. Oh, Mary, okay. It was the opposite sides of the class there. So Mary asked. And in fact, that is the case. Yes, it is. I loved English ever since I was little. I was writing stories all the time. But, the way that my family is, they're very much, as I'm sure there are many families here, very much geared towards, well, is it going to make you money? Fair enough. It's a good question, right? And so my father took me aside one day and said, listen, writing, that's a hobby. You have to figure something else out. And then I found out that I was pretty good at physics and math, and I liked it. It seemed like an interesting puzzle. And I just kind of went forward with that in university, out of kind of son filial duty, right? Now, the pull of English was so great that it kind of roped me in at the last second, right? Otherwise, I might be working on Bay Street right now doing analytics for some company. But I'm here, okay? So let's get a sense of the class. So it's important to do what's best for your family, even if it doesn't make you happy. You have a duty to your family that comes before your duty to yourself and what you think you want to do. Who completely disagrees? Nice and high. Duty to yourself first, family second. Okay? Now who would be a 2? Okay, so a little bit more wiggle room. Who's right in the middle? It's a difficult position to hold. Because if you have 2 things, if your family says you must do this and you think I must do that, where are you going to balance them? Okay, so let's just get the rest. Who's a 4? Okay, stronger duty. And then who's a 5? It's like, yes, family, no problem. Victoria, 2. Okay, beautiful. So let's get some opinions from the one side, because that's the minority side here. So Peyton, what are your thoughts on this?
I feel like since everyone grows up in a sense, you move on from your family, make your own life. I feel like if you're not happy in your own life, kind of thing, then you're never gonna be happy at all, kind of thing. So even if it depends on the situation. Some people do stuff for their family as a range manager. People don't want to do that. So
You know, as the Bible says, man shall leave his mother and father and cleave unto his wife. You know, that's one. At least in Lebanese culture, it's always the case that if there's a dispute between a man, like his wife, let's say his wife and his father are arguing, it's assumed that he's going to take his wife's side, because a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave unto his wife. So that's a biblical, let's say, justification for this kind of ultimate break. Now that has to do with marriage, but a similar idea. So other people who are totally in favor of this number one of yourself first, your family second. Who else put up their hand? Serena.
If I'm not good, how am I gonna make any like if I'm not okay, then how am I gonna help anyone else? So I have to think about myself. Like I'm not being selfish, but if I'm not okay, like if I'm depressed or something, how am I supposed to help you with the problem?
Trying to maximize it, yeah.
Yeah. So like I have to make sure like there's a leeway of what I have to do for my family and what I have to do for myself.
Kevin.
Well, I don't think your family would be happy to see that if you're not happy. That's kind of how it is.
Interesting. Okay, so let's move towards. So who was at a 2? There was one, Jack, right? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I think it's like your happiness should be most important, but you also have a duty to your family too. I guess I'd be like 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Okay, so most people were in the 3 camp. So let me throw a question out to everybody in the 3s. Let's say you're me. What do you go into? Physics or English? First year university. What do you go into? Physics? Hello? Which one are you going into? Fill us out. So, people from the 3s. Let's get an opinion here. Luke. You, Luke, yeah, that's right. That's right. You go into physics or English. So you're a 3. You say that these concerns are, they're pulling on with equal weight. Which one are you going into?
You're really gonna make me choose?
I'm going to make you choose, man.
I'd probably go into physics.
Physics. Okay.
Wait.
Oh.
English is the one you want, right?
That's right.
Okay, I'd go into English.
English. Okay, so family be damned. Let's do the Shakespeare.
But
Very.
like physics, is physics what you don't like completely?
No, I love physics. I really do.
Go into physics and minor in English.
That's what I did for a little bit. Okay. Other thoughts. Let's
Your
get.
family really loves you. They're gonna accept you either way. So like there's
My father and I never talk anymore. I'm just kidding. We do.
For a second there, I thought you were not.
No. It's all good. Okay. Other considerations. Joseph, physics or English? Which one? Physics. So leaning more towards the family duty side. Don.
to English.
I think there's only a certain extent to what kind of sacrifices you make for your family. Like in this case, I'd hope that your family would understand that it's in your best interest to choose what's best for you and your career. And I'm sure your family would let go of the fact that you didn't become like an engineer just because they told you to. But like I said, there's a certain extent to what kind of sacrifice you can make for your family. Choosing English, what you want, over physics, is your decision. They can get over that. But if you make like some ridiculous, if your family asks to make some ridiculous sacrifice for them, like I don't know, if you don't kill this dude, I'm gonna disown you or whatever, something stupid like that. That would be like a really stupid sacrifice to make for your family. So there's a barrier to how you can sacrifice for your family. How is it like beneficial for you and how is it not?
Interesting. Let's get one more before we go on. Yeah, Mary.
I feel like it's more like where you come from. People like that come from different countries, their parents, they sacrifice so much for them that they feel obligated to do something for their family and help them out in some way. So like when their parents just suggest like, oh, go into engineering, go into the sciences, they feel more obligated to go into it just because they said that, because like they did do so much for them.
Mm-hmm.
While like people who like probably like are like they were born in Canada or whatever, they usually like their parents are more like lenient to like what like they want you to do. So like they tell you, oh, you can do whatever, like do what you want and do what you love.
Mm-hmm.
Like like people from different places, they feel like, oh yeah, like they suggest engineering, they suggest these things, but like it's not like you have to take them, but you feel more obligated to.
Right. Isabel.
I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but like I feel like what Mary was trying to say was that like when you come from a country that there's a lot of poverty and there's a lot of I guess like you see a lot of things that you don't normally see here.
Mhm.
When you come over here and you make the sacrifice and you leave everything that you knew behind, or your parents left everything that they knew behind, you kind of feel like they came here and they left everything so that you could have a better life. So when they tell you like, oh, like I want you to go into engineering or something like that, it's because those are the fields that are not only like seen with prestige, but also they have like there's money behind it, and you know that, like everyone knows that there's money in STEM, and you can get a career more likely than if you had like a language degree, like you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So like I feel like that's why, but what she thinks is that like when you live here, like you kind of like how do I?
You're used to the luxury.
Yeah.
You're used to the luxury of being able to choose those
they,
things.
They already have that luxury, so they're not really worried about the money.
I see.
They just want their kid to have a good like life, I guess.
Yeah, in different ways. Yeah, Miriam.
So like I come from that kind of family where they want me to make money because they did like suffer all the way to get here,
Totally.
and like it's fine. And my brother became an engineer, but I'm not like into STEM at all. And like I just like the social sciences. I like psychology, sociology. So what I did with that is just I took it as an undergrad to like become a lawyer because that also makes money, but I still get to do what I like.
It works.
So my undergrad now is going to be like psychology, and I'm doing what I like, but I'm also hopefully going to make money.
I did something similar. So when I moved into English, I moved into a particular kind of English called bioaesthetics, and it's basically a scientific approach to analyzing literature and art in general. So I keep the STEM piece, and I could have Doctor of Science, blah blah blah, behind my name, but I get to do science. So just a little bit. A quick point about the difference. There was an article in the Atlantic, which is it's a magazine, and it was titled pretty bluntly. It said, "Rich kids take English." Rich kids now. I mean, there's a hole in my jacket. I'm not that rich, okay? So it's not for everybody, but the feeling is definitely there. That if you have the ability to choose something that doesn't necessarily make you money, it's because you already have some money. You're independently wealthy. You don't have to struggle and grind for that money because you already have it. Okay? What's up? What do you think, Michael?
I think it's I don't know. I feel the same way as this one.
Are you going to be an engineer because it's going to make your parents happy, or because you love it?
Because I like it.
And I mean, and let's not too get down on the STEM fields. I mean, they are fun for some people, right? Okay, so the fourth one is similar. Yeah, Maya. Yeah, okay. For the fourth one, okay. Maya, what did you say? Guys, come on, let's focus in.
I think part of the question sort of differently than everyone else because it says like what is best for my family, not what my family wants me to do. So I think of it as like their like needs instead of wants. So like for example, if like your family's like struggling financially and you have to drop out of school to work, that doesn't make you happy, but that's best for your family. So I feel like that situation, like you would have to put them first. But like stuff like oh, your family wants to be a lawyer, but you want to be an artist. I feel like the question is really like it's not really talking about that because that's not what's best for them. It's just what they think is best for you.
Fair enough. Yeah, so you have to do what's best. Even if they don't ask it of you, it's still important to do what's best. Okay, so the fourth one I think is sufficiently similar to the other one that we maybe just move past it. So whole other area. I believe that art, of whatever kind, offers valuable insights into life and how to act in the world. Who completely disagrees? Anybody completely disagree? Who's at a 2? Who's at a 3? 4? And who's like, yeah, absolutely a 5? There's some people who didn't answer. What did you say, Joseph, for that one? What's that? A 3? Okay. Valuable insights. So you guys are all loving English that much, or art in general. Is that right? Okay, so let's get a word from the 5s. Who here said 5? Michelle, what do you think?
Maybe like my opinion with the club is that
Join the club.
yesterday I watched maybe you've heard of it, the movie Finding Vincent.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I was watching that and basically talked about the tortured artists and stuff like that.
So just for people who don't know, why don't you just give a brief description of what
Right.
Loving Vincent is?
Loving Vincent is basically like an experimental movie / art project in dedication to artist Vincent Van Gogh, and he eventually went to a suicide and right after it. So basically, like when Vincent was alive, he really didn't receive much like praise for any of his work, even though nowadays he's considered one of the best modernist artists in the world. So I feel like at that time when he was alive, we never really looked at his art to see what this man was like. But after he was dead, suddenly everyone was praising the ground he walked on. Well, not really, he was dead, but
The ground he was buried in, let's say.
the ground he was buried under. But like, I think so, yeah, because like after we peered into his art a bit more, we saw a lot of the emotion that was in this guy's troubled mind, I guess. So I'd say that art really shows us a lot about how to act, what people are like, because that's how we express ourselves.
So I put this up. This is probably his most famous one. I actually have a big poster of this in my apartment. It's called Starry Night. Vincent Van Gogh actually painted this from his room in an insane asylum. He checked himself in, I believe, and he painted what he saw from his window. And this is basically what he saw.
Our theme for prom is Starry Night.
Oh, lovely.
Vincent
Someone should
Van
make a
Gogh.
dress out of this thing. It's everybody kind of knows about this one. Okay, so let's get to the threes then. So we have a very impassioned, art. Who says three? Luke.
I mean, in this case, art can be insightful, but if we look at it from a perspective, let's say music, we all know that some music, like rap in particular, is not the best place to go for good insight. And an example would probably be like, I don't know, Chief Keef. If you listen to Chief Keef's music for better understanding and guidance in your life, then I think you need to reconsider where you are.
Very modest.
But that being said, there's other music that does offer like some insight to like how you can tap in your life. So yeah, there's some music that can give you good insights, but there's also some music that can give you bad.
It's not all art. Let's
What
say.
is good music?
A lot of its opinion.
Well, that classifies to you. Like you could like Chief Keef. You could say that you do get good insights from Chief Keef, and I could listen to country music. I could say that country music does give me good insights, and we could have opposite feelings. You could hate country music. You could say that it gives you bad insights.
Okay.
It's subjective to each person.
Okay, so let's get a more thorough response. Vithu, what are you thinking, Ben?
About
Chief Keef fan?
I don't know, like
Is that a Chief Keef fan?
I don't know, like I don't think I have an opinion on this, to be honest.
No opinion?
Yeah, like
They're still in the cloud.
Still in the cloud, man.
like does art affect how like I interpret things? I guess. Like
You get? Okay, well let's see. So you just finished reading Oedipus, right?
Yeah.
You talked about justice.
Yeah.
After you got out of that, and you looked at how justice looked in Oedipus, is your thinking about justice any different, or is it the same as it was before, would you say?
it was the same as it was before, it's just I went through a process of judging what is justice and not justice.
So there was some change. Not no change, but not a
Yeah.
huge change. So that's a
To some
3.
extent, yeah.
Fair enough. Other opinions? Yeah.
What I kind of got out of that essay was that, like, when you analyze both the ideologies that you see in, like, Sophocles' time and then in
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare's time, there's always a bias. Like, there's always, like, either they're leaning towards, like, the gods and they want to, like, praise religion, or they're looking towards the leaders of the time and seeing what's most convenient for them. So I was kind of thinking, like, when I'm analyzing things or, like, when I'm deciding whether something is just or unjust, like, do I, like, maybe lean towards, like, a friend, or I quickly think, like, oh, if it's, like, justice for an enemy or somebody, like, I'll automatically say, like, oh, it was just, like, they got whatever they deserved, you know what I mean? So, like, I feel like, we should be less biased when it comes to that, and, like, we should just think more about that situation itself rather than thinking about who's involved or what is in it for me.
Right. So would you say that after your interaction with, not even just the essay, although the essay too, but just reading those two, has your idea of justice changed at all? Changed at all? Not that you think something differently, but has it been affected at all? Or was it just like ships passing in the night, nothing happened?
What do you mean? Like, in terms of what? I used to think justice was this and now I think it's that.
So that probably didn't happen, but did that happen?
No.
Okay, so your idea didn't change. Did it become any clearer?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was some change, but not like didn't flip 180.
No.
Just became more precise. Okay. So the next one, I believe the purpose of art is to entertain. Another way of thinking about this is that the idea of when you view art or something, it's to escape. There's something like escapism. I go to the movies to escape how awful my life is. I read a book because in the book I get to be this strong, lots of hair flowing macho man, but I am going bald, and that's not me. Who believes that one, that art is for entertainment or for escape? So who completely disagrees? That's not what it's about. 2? Okay. So, 3, 4, 5. So some people didn't put one down. Who here is difficult to answer this one? What do you guys like? Is there someone who didn't put an answer down at all?
I have a question.
Sure.
When you say entertain, does that mean like it's also meant to make you feel something rather than just like, oh, like I'm entertained and I'm distracted?
So what I was leaning more towards with entertain is it's kind of superficial or surface level. It's like you laugh at the Adam Sandler movie, but there's nothing really that goes past that.
So then, okay.
Yeah, so it's more, for this one I was trying to get more just surface level. You escape, it doesn't really affect your life in any profound way. Okay, so let's get some people who come, so there was no one completely disagree, but let's get a 2. So who said, Jack, were you at a 2? You were a 2, let's go.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think like learn from art, right? And I don't think it's that good to always just be in an escape, right? I mean, if you're always just trying to escape from what you're experiencing, then like you're never gonna face reality. And I don't think that's what the purpose of art is. I think it's like also a lot of times art imitates life, right? So like I think art could be meant to just help you understand real life.
I see. Nicole, where were you on the continuum? Between 3 and 4, so a little bit stronger. So what do you think? So art is mostly to entertain. Is that what you're thinking? Okay, why do you think that?
I think it depends on the type of art. Like if it's like a show or a movie, you can learn, but it's more you go and watch to entertain yourself. It's not like you don't go there to deeply analyze every single thing that's happening. And actors are entertainers who are their job is to entertain you. So like that's how I think of it.
Okay. Jack, what's up?
No, I was just gonna think about. Never mind. I don't know what I was trying to say.
Think it over for a few seconds, man. Francisco, what did you put down, man?
I put 5.
Oh, wow. So straight up, art is for entertainment, full stop.
Well, it depends what like entertainment is to you.
Okay, so if we're using that kind of superficial definition, would you still say it's a 5?
Not really.
No? Okay, so why don't you flesh out what you're thinking more?
I do believe that a lot of people do use it as a way to escape,
Mhm.
just like with non-therapists where you don't want to escape to that. But well, for me personally, my definition of entertainment is to actually learn from it and to actually get an idea from it. So
Okay.
if we use entertainment only to escape, then I wouldn't agree. I'd probably be more of a 3.
Mm.
But if it's actually just for solely ideas, I'd also disagree because some people they go in there sometimes to escape, but they also want to learn a bit about the world that they're in, right? They want to take something from it, and sometimes people just it's like a drug. They just want to go there, escape from the crap life they're having,
Mhm.
whatever.
Did you have a? Oh, just scratch your nose? Okay. Michelle, what are you thinking?
Well, I was just thinking, art, if you were talking on a superficial level, yes, it is entertainment, but I just sort of think it's funny, like, how it depends on the person, because obviously there's a difference in terms of entertainment between watching, like, Lion King versus Oedipus, you know? Oedipus isn't really gonna entertain you, but Lion King might, and I was just thinking about, like, when we say art, like, what are they, like, defining as art?
It's a good question. You're still thinking like the essay. You're still thinking about defining terms. That's very interesting.
Like, art can be a lot of things, because we were earlier talking about how, like, keys and stuff like that, right? But I'm like, can we stress, like, what, does the definition of art include things like Chief Keef music, you know? Like, I mean, in one way it could, like, in a way rap is poetry and stuff like that, but is the meaning anything substantial? What are we
Interesting.
defining here? So I was just, like, confused about that.
It's a big question. Before we move on, I'll just give you guys one thought about this big question that no philosopher has an answer to about what is art. There's a difference between saying something is or isn't. Okay, that's, I believe, proscriptive. And if it's good art or bad art, which is descriptive. So you can say Chief, so let's take the Luke line. I don't want to offend Chief Keef fans in this room, but let's just take, for purpose of argument, you can say Chief Keef is art, it's just bad art. Or you can say it's just not art at all, it doesn't even rise to that level. Those are two different judgments to make, right? So have that in mind. There's a difference between something being either X or not X and just being a bad example of X. Something to think about. Okay, so number 7 here. I believe that forming my ideas, okay, to the point they can be expressed in writing, so to that level, that's a valuable exercise for its own sake. Even if I'm not being graded, even if it won't help me get into Waterloo so that I can become a lawyer, writing out my ideas, getting to the point where I can think them clearly enough to write them out, that is important to do for its own sake. What do you guys think? Who completely disagrees? It is a complete waste of time. 2? 3? 4? All right, and 5? Lovely. So you guys are going to love writing these. So I'm just going to read endless long blog posts from you guys because writing is good for its own sake. Is that fair enough to see? Or will I see a bunch of people who get to 250 and then put the period right there? I guess we'll find out. Okay, so from the 3 group, let's say, what are you guys thinking? Who said 3? Peyton.
I believe that like writing is also like it's like in the middle kind of thing. So I feel like also like speaking your opinion and like right there and now and like, speaking what's on your mind.
Mhm.
But like writing kind of like think about and then like make sure it's like automatically correct so it takes more time. It's like kind of annoying, but
Yes,
it's kind of middle. It's important, but like it's not like amazingly important.
What do you think, Trinity?
Oh, for question number 7, I put 5.
Oh, wow. So like it's really important for its own sake.
Because like I was saying, I don't know how to put like what I'm saying into my mind into my own words. So I feel like the more I exercise it, the more I'm better at expressing myself, and I feel like it's just better in me as a person. Like if when I grow up and I have to read to somebody or I have to write to somebody or I have to say my own opinion, it's like it's better in myself. I learn new words, I learn new things. Like I enjoy it.
I see.
It's a good exercise.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's get another 3, because it seems to tilt very much towards 5. Anybody, who else said 3? Or who else put down 3? What else? Don, what's up?
I put 3, but like, I think that it's important to form your ideas, like, just into writing, one just in case, like, you ever come across, like, someone who wants to argue with your opinion.
Totally. If you're, I mean, like, we don't have to be like these total peacekeepers. We can just say, like, from a debate standpoint, this is also why that 4th paragraph would be good, even if you don't care about knowing someone else's opinion. In debate, there's only one opinion that you need to know perfectly. And it's not yours, it's your opponent's. If you know it better than they do, you'll crush them every time. You will. Okay? It's true. So it's just a tactical thing to be good at it. Okay, so the final one, I believe so we're going to try to wrap things together. I believe there's a connection between memory, writing, and mental well-being. Who completely disagrees? There's no connection. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so what do we think about connection? What do you think, Lisa?
Like for mental, I don't know about writing, but like for mental well-being, like your past can like significantly impact your mental health and like your who you are today, and like I guess like that would lead like your mental health would eventually lead to your writing and like how you persuade people into writing and stuff like that.
Let's go to Victoria real quick. Victoria, what did you say?
I said 5, just because I don't know. I personally really enjoy writing, and I feel like my writing wouldn't be the same if I didn't like have like, for instance, like stable well-being or like I didn't bring my memories into it. So that's why I'm completely agree. I think it'd be completely different if like those factors weren't taken into account.
Karen.
I feel like they're all connected because a memory can help you like express either if it's in writing or talking that can
help you. Like it can take something off your shoulder if you're able to express it. So that does help your well-being.
There you go. Other thoughts? Isabel, yeah.
Like it says that there's a connection between memory, writing, and well-being, and like I wrote 4, just because like when you have an experience, like you're going to end up expressing it or sharing it with at least one person, and usually that does happen. Like even if it's something small, you do end up sharing it, and I think that's really important, especially when it's like a bad experience. Like you need to get that off your chest and express it to someone else so that they can help you. And I think that is a huge thing with mental health. Like you need to talk to someone, because otherwise you're not going to get better. And even though you think like maybe it's better that I just keep this burden to myself, it's not. You need to talk to somebody else to like relieve your mind, I guess.
Philip, what do you think, man?
I wrote 4.
Why is that?
It's like whatever happens to you may influence how you act in the present.
What was that? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Whatever happened to you in the past is going to influence how you act in the present.
Okay,
Like how you write about.
fair enough. Other thoughts? Okay, so very interesting. Keep all these things in mind. So right now, we're not going to get to the production notes today, which is fine. It's 3 pages. We'll do that tomorrow before we start watching the movie. Feel free to read them at home. But before we break, we're going to do some writing. Okay, so we all seem to believe there's some connection between writing and well-being. Just a quick question. Does anybody here, out of curiosity, keep a journal? You know, I've always wanted to. I'm just too lazy. Like, I really do. Yeah, or a diary. Yeah, or a diary. It's tough. But it really does help you. It really does. So, there you go. Think about it. Just write a thought a day, you know? So, we're going to do some writing. You can do it on a piece of paper. You can do it on your phone. Okay? The first blog post, and there will be more concrete questions, but I give you a sense of it now, a taste of it. You're going to be reflecting on basically the things that we talked about today. You can latch onto one topic. You can latch onto a bunch. There'll be themes that we talk about from the production notes tomorrow. But take any one of the things that we just read about, at least one, and write as much as you can about it. Okay? We'll do another thing where we do 3 minutes straight of writing, do a little debrief, and then we'll be done for the day. Fair enough? Okay, so we'll give you guys 30 seconds to get started on your marks. Okay? You guys ready? Yeah? What's up? Yeah, go for it. Okay, so we'll start the timer right now. Okay, so 3 minutes straight writing, okay? Guys, 3 minutes writing. Okay, so that's the 3 minutes. If you guys would like, you can take whatever you've written and go to learn. The first page there, communication, the top left-hand corner, blog, and initiate your blog with these nice rough thoughts. Okay, or continue to think about them. We'll come back to the specifics of the blog tomorrow. Let's see, we'll end class on a nice light note. This is a song that I really liked in high school. It's when I first learned about Vincent van Gogh. It's actually a song about him. So I say we just stop and just listen. Just listen to the song.
No, we were in production notes.
What's that?
Oh, no.
In production.
Production notes.
Okay.
He's not free. He's a good thing.
Sound maybe isn't working.
Wow. God, they should play our prom.
And the lyrics are on the.
I'm sorry.
Okay, ready?
Starry, starry night.
Our prom song.
Make your house remember.